It's just another fight. It's just another fight for me. You know, it's big. Every time there's a Conor McGregor fight, it's big. We're in Las Vegas. We're fight capital. You know, International Fight Week, even more crazy. The heat is on. The heat is going to be even more on come Saturday night.
Does it get your blood pumping, the buzz that Conor brings to this sport now that you're matched up against him one again? Does any side of that entertain you and get you fired up knowing that it's going to be the biggest story in sports this week?
Oh, for sure. I'm excited. You know, we got other big events going on. You know, you got the World Cup going on, and still people are talking about Holloway versus McGregor too. So at the end of the day, it's a great position.
In shape, focused. You know, he's a dangerous man. If anybody can come back after 5 years and put it all together and start winning against the best guys, it's Conor. You know, he's a special individual. Even though he's a horrible person and I don't like him, I got to give props where it's due. He has some God-given gifts.
Find it, and you just seem to will it. You know, is it as easy as that, or how? Like, I know you just kind of described it, but how? How did you get that confidence back to walk in there and face a guy like Max Holloway on Saturday?
Man, I don't know. It's above, brother. It's divine. It's not me. It's above. That's how I feel with it. I could question my own self with that also, but I have it. I'm confident, and I'm gonna showcase it. I love this arena. I love fight night, fight week, and God willing, I'm back here next week and the week after. How many weeks is in a year? 54. There you go. You know, I could fight every week if it's a go. You know, before the injury, I had maybe 3 within the year. People don't recall that. And yeah, now there you go. We plan on getting busy here.
Can we get back to that, or will even the business, will the fight business allow it when you almost get too big to fight that frequently, right? Or can we get back to that level of it?
I believe I wish for it. I wish for it. So if I'm the man in the arena, right? I'm the one that's making the walk. So if I'm the one who's pushing for it and campaigning for it, I'm sure that is the case. Now I've said my piece with the Ultimate Fighting Championship and their staging of my bouts. And they've said their piece, and you know it's kind of fallen on.
Conor doesn't need to fight. He has everything. I respect the fact that he's coming back to fight so much because it shows that he's a fighter in his heart. You know, me, I got to a certain level and I decided to walk away. You know, Conor, he's back. It shows that he's still that fighter despite having so much success. I'm rooting for him. Proud of Conor. I'm a massive fan. I think I will be for the rest of my life. You know, he has had a lot of struggles, ups and downs, just like I have, but he always gets back on his feet, which is a huge example to so many out there. So.
Did we ever think that McGregor was coming back?
He always threatened coming back, didn't he? But I think that like there's been so many stop-starts with McGregor that
6 years.
Yeah, no one knows where we're up to. But you know what? I watched a couple of his interviews recently. He seems in a really good place. I know it's only an interview, but he does seem in a good place. When McGregor's on form, he's absolutely unreal. Absolutely unreal. He's beat Max Holloway before. Max Holloway, in my opinion, really, really good fighter. One of the best ever. Didn't look great in his last fight. Did not look great against Charles Oliveira at all. He looked like he kind of like was questioning whether he wanted to be there or not at points, but he was fighting a grappler, so you know, when it's all striking, which it probably will be, sometimes when you're fighting regular, that helps as well. Sometimes it works the other way. It just depends where they're at. But like I say, I heard a couple of McGregor interviews. I was very impressed with the way what he was talking about and how calm he seemed and how focused he seemed. I know it's just an interview, it doesn't really mean anything, but he's up against it, against an active guy like Max Holloway. But I think the thing is that power doesn't leave. Like, he needs one shot and it can be over. So I'm more favouring towards a McGregor win, to be honest.
I can tell, but how does Holloway win this fight?
Holloway wins by just out-voluming him, being at the right spots at the right time. Very tall, lanky guy, using good footwork, using good timing. His timing is definitely going to be better because he's been fighting way more regular than McGregor. I think that there's definitely a possibility of Max Holloway picking him off and moving, but I would favour more towards McGregor.
The upcoming showdown between Conor McGregor and Max Holloway is far from your average UFC main event. It pits an all-time great seeking to prove he's still at the pinnacle of his career against a battle-hardened fighter who has endured countless wars in the octagon. While many experts are backing Max Holloway, citing his superior conditioning, fitness, and current form, others believe Conor McGregor's devastating left hand could be the difference maker. As the fight approaches, opinions are divided. So, who are the experts rooting for and why?
I bitch about it and you say, well, it didn't land. Yeah, no shit, because I blocked it. The problem is I'm still sitting on my ass, you dumbass. Like, that's the problem. But I remember him saying it didn't land. What? Okay, you're right, it didn't. It's still illegal to throw to the fucking head when I'm sitting on my butt. So, anyways, that's me going off my rant. But
no, and I appreciate that perspective. I think people out there will really appreciate you sharing that. And I understand as well, like, with Tom Aspinall stepping into this rematch with Cyril Gane, you know, like, you're talking about it fucking with your head. Like, this guy just basically couldn't drive his kids around for like 8 months because his eye's so fucked. You're gonna go in there and be like, hey man, this is kind of important. Like, please assure me you're gonna do something about this. And just quickly before we get,
you're gonna pay attention to it at least.
Yeah. Before we get into the big card, one more thing. I saw Jamal Hill was moving up to heavyweight. You obviously just had a blast out performance at heavyweight. When you see people like Jamal Hill moving up to heavyweight, you're always looking forward to having before a fight.
You know, Sean Strickland is pretty funny. We certainly get to see a good side of him in those fighter meetings, and we get to talk technically, but I always enjoy having a few minutes with Sean. You know, Derek Lewis, I think, actually, believe it or not, is lightened up over the years, so our last fighter meeting with him was particularly funny. You know, they all can go in a number of different directions. In terms of the other part of that question, I'm thankful that not too many fighters sort of get annoyed. I think oftentimes if a fighter's going to bring up a past call or something they take issue with, they won't use the fighter meeting as the setting in which they want to sort of challenge you on that. They might message you on Instagram. But thankfully, not too many fighters have gotten annoyed. We try to keep it short and sweet and on to the next. But yeah, I mean, Strickland is amusing. Yeah, I'm trying to draw on a couple of different.
Yeah, like you just said, the blackout walkout was a surprise, and I actually only found out. I only asked Conor the other day. I was like, "Did you know about that?" And he didn't know either. So I remember as we're leaving the locker room and the cameras were there, and I kind of recognized that that's what they do for a blackout walkout. You know, they meet you at the locker room. So you knew something was up. But and then the crowd and everything, it was an incredible reception, and we got off, as you can see, to a great start. Well, I think that was it Max's 5th or 6th?
6th fight, yeah.
It was the 6th fight in the UFC. Yeah. That's why I kind of laugh at the commentaries, you know, Conor was fighting a boy. I was like, well, he had a lot more UFC fights than Conor did. Only a couple of years in the difference. But yeah, no, there was a fair bit to watch from him, to be honest. It was nice to go against somebody that we had no real worry about, you know, a deep double leg or anything. He's going to stay in his feet.
I mean, just judging by ring rust from Conor McGregor's side, I think Max Holloway, you know, he's been very active. It is a welterweight fight, I believe, right?
It is, yeah.
I mean, that's a bit crazy because obviously Max Holloway, I think, looks good at 155. So it would be weird for him adjusting to a bit of a bigger, you know, obviously McGregor looks massive these days. So having to adjust that new weight class might play a factor, you know. But I think because of the activity of Holloway, I've got to give it to Holloway.
The kid in me wants to see Conor do it, you know. I'm obviously a big Conor fan. I think most of the kids from my generation grew up watching him and were inspired by him, and I think a small part of us will always believe that he's still capable of doing it. You know, I'm a big Max Holloway fan too, but honestly, I think it's an interesting matchup, especially it happening at 40 or at 70 is the most intriguing part. Like Max has been around for a long time. He's had so many fights. You know, I know Conor's older than him, but I think in terms of fight time, Max has probably taken more strikes and has had more fights. And I think in his last couple of fights, we've seen a little bit of the mystique of the chin has not.
While many view Conor McGregor's extended layoff as a disadvantage, Brian Shaw believes it could ultimately work in his favor. Shaw points out that Max Holloway has remained consistent in the UFC with his tactics largely unchanged throughout his career. As a result, Shaw thinks McGregor can anticipate Holloway's approach, facing a familiar opponent who is a skilled boxer, extremely durable, and prefers to keep the fight standing.
Any question, last time Conor came back against Dustin Poirier, he took a year and a half off and didn't even know about calf kicks and lost because of it. This time he's been off for 5 years. Are there any developments in the game that he's missed out on that would be relevant in the fight? No, especially when it comes to Max Holloway, right? Like Max is cut from kind of the same cloth where you know exactly what you're going to get with Max. You know, at Max's age, he's not throwing any wrinkles. He's not doing anything special. Like we know what you're signing up for when you fight Max Holloway. So I think that's actually a benefit to Conor being out of the game so long, is you know exactly who you're getting in Max Holloway, and that's a good thing. If you're a Conor fan, that's a good thing. There's gonna be no surprises. It's not like he's fighting fucking Hoofy or something like that. We're like, dude, I don't know what the hell he's gonna do. You're Max Holloway. You know what you're getting? Great boxing, great chin, good movement, great footwork. Probably not going to the ground, right? So
Shaw is of the opinion that a win in the contest will not lack options for Holloway, but lacks a next option. A win that makes highlights against McGregor will certainly make Holloway more famous. But the next move to make by the UFC is going to be unclear. It could either involve another attempt for the lightweight belt, a fight against one of the rising stars of the division, or even another big bang fight. The point is that Shaw does see various options, but lacks an option to choose from.
Next, if he beats Conor, dominant fashion, Max bounces back from losses very well and can dog it out like he did with Yair if he needs to. Yeah, Max is in a weird spot, right? Because let's say he highlight reel knocks out Conor. He's this huge name. Is Justin going, all right, that's the fight that'll get me up and I'll put my belt on the line. We can do that rematch. You know, does that do it? Or, you know, where Max is at in his career, does he fancy himself a 170er? I don't think so. You know, does he challenge Islam? That'd be a nightmare for him. Does the UFC use him as a launching board for these guys coming up, like Yair Rodriguez at 55, Dio Lopez at 55? You know, do they do Max versus Patty if Patty gets a big win? You know, what do they do? The point is there's a lot of options for both gentlemen if they win. A lot of them.
In regards to the fight itself, according to Tom Aspinall, the most crucial issue is not the opponent faced by McGregor, but rather how he will take the task ahead. Although McGregor took advantage of his grappling abilities in their previous confrontation, Aspinall finds it hard to believe that the Irishman will use this as his chief approach after having been away from the sport for such a long period, considering that the wrestler can tire a fighter very easily within 5 rounds. As such, he is expecting him to depend on the strikes which have made him a star worldwide, looking for that finishing left hand for which McGregor is known.
But McGregor, Max Holloway's shown some, mate, he's striking, like his striking IQ is so good. Doesn't get hit much. But then in the first fight, McGregor grappled him. He might grapple him again. Like that, I know that how many years ago was that? It's probably like 10 years ago, weren't it?
Would you grapple someone though if you've had that amount of time off? Is that probably an easy... let's just for us fans, how do you sort of look at something like that? You've had 6 years out.
Yeah.
Your gas tank. When you're coming to a fight, is there a difference in if he's going full strike and he's going to be knackered after a few rounds and this is a 5-round fight? Would grappling help him, or grappling's just as exhausting, right?
Grappling's probably more exhausting. It just depends though, because if McGregor's looking for a knockout, that's exhausting as well. So I'm hoping McGregor's going to be like in full flow, looking for that left hand. Mate, when he's on form, like his fight with Eddie Alvarez, in my opinion, was his best performance ever. Mate, absolutely unreal. Absolutely unreal. How does he look after, 6 years off? That's going to be the interesting factor, but me, like everybody else, I'm excited to see McGregor.
Moreover, Aspinall does not believe that judging Holloway based on his defeat to Ilia Topuria is a fair assessment of him. In Aspinall's opinion, both Holloway and McGregor have evolved over time as years of training in many fights have made them who they are now. Although Aspinall understands that Holloway is approaching the latter part of his career, he cites his dominant performance against Justin Gaethje as evidence that he can deliver excellent performances. Most importantly, Aspinall is expecting an exciting fight because of the anticipated return of the long-absent McGregor and Holloway's track record for delivering memorable fights.
Is Max Holloway the same fighter after that Ilia Topuria fight though?
No,
because that seemed to.
Neither of them are the same fighter as they were like 10 years ago. Obviously, they've like been massive gaps. They've also got a lot more miles on the clock and stuff like that. I think that. Yeah, Max is definitely later on in his career. Max, though, mate, Max puts on some unbelievable performances. When we seen him fight Justin Gaethje, it was unreal. That wasn't that long ago. Like, that was a couple of years ago, was it? Last year, was it?
Yeah.
Mate, he's absolutely unreal when he's on form. So, I just want to see a good fight. I'm excited to see McGregor back. I'm always excited to see Max Holloway fight. I think this is one to get excited about.
Moving past the actual bout, however, John Anik is equally intrigued about what such a switch to welterweight might mean for Holloway's future career prospects. According to Anik, Holloway actually informed him long ago that he expected to be competing in higher weight divisions towards the end of his career, which meant that this move was not completely surprising. While Anik definitely still thinks that lightweight is where Holloway belongs, he does think that competing in the 170 pounds class would serve his various strengths well, especially regarding his size, power, speed, and footwork. Whatever happens in this bout against McGregor, Anik thinks it will define the rest of Holloway's career. Although there are those who are excited about the return of McGregor, Anthony Smith doesn't think that the hype should take the spotlight away from the task ahead of him. Smith claims that the UFC becomes larger simply because McGregor becomes a part of it, noting how his fights receive an immense amount of attention and coverage for all the fighters on his fight card. Nevertheless, regarding the fight itself, Smith doesn't have much confidence in the returning champion's ability to win since he thinks that Holloway is a difficult fighter to face at welterweight.
Bitch about it and you say, well, it didn't land. Yeah, no shit, because I blocked it. The problem is I'm still sitting on my ass, you dumbass. Like, that's the problem. But I remember him saying it didn't land. What? Okay, you're right, it didn't. It's still illegal to throw to the fucking head when I'm sitting on my butt. So, anyways, that's me going.
Connor the other day, I was like, did you know about that? And he didn't know either. So I remember as we're leaving the locker room and the cameras were there, and I kind of recognized that that's what they do for a blackout walkout. You know, they meet you at the locker room. So you knew something was up. But, and then the crowd and everything, it was an incredible reception. And we got off, as you can see, to a great start. Well, I think that was it Max's fifth or sixth?
Sixth fight, yeah.
It was a sixth fight in the UFC.
Might play a factor, you know, but I think because of the activity of Holloway, I've got to give it to Holloway.
The kid in me wants to see Conor do it, you know? I'm obviously a big Conor fan. I think most of the kids from my generation grew up watching him and were inspired by him, and I think a small part of us will always believe that he's still capable of doing it, you know? I'm a big Max Holloway fan too, but honestly, I think it's an interesting matchup, especially it happening at 40 or at 70 is the most intriguing part. Like, Max has been around for a long time. He's had so many fights, you know. I know Conor's older than him, but I think in terms of fight time, Max has probably taken more strikes and has had more fights. And I think in his last couple of fights, we've seen a little bit of the
fashion. Max bounces back from losses very well and can dog it out like he did with Yair if he needs to. Yeah, Max is in a weird spot, right? Because let's say he highlight reel knocks out Conor. He's this huge name. Is Justin going, all right, that's the fight that'll get me up and I'll put my belt on the line. We can do that rematch. You know, does that do it? Or, you know, where Max is at in his career, does he fancy himself a 170? I don't think so. You know, does he challenge Islam? That'd be a nightmare for him. Does the UFC use him as a launching board for these guys coming up, like Yair Rodriguez at 55, Dio Lopez at 55? You know,
Smith also points to the different paths both fighters have taken since their first meeting. In his view, Holloway has remained fully committed to the demands of elite competition. While McGregor's career has been interrupted by injuries and ventures outside the octagon, Smith believes that if McGregor had stayed consistently active over the years, he might still have held the edge. But given how things unfolded, he feels Holloway has continued to evolve while staying immersed in the sport. For that reason, Smith sees this as an extremely difficult comeback assignment for McGregor, arguing that the returning star is facing one of the toughest possible opponents under the circumstances. Not everyone, however, is ruling McGregor out completely. Kyle Dawkins believes the former champion still has a realistic path to victory, particularly if he returns to the grappling-heavy approach that proved effective in their first encounter. He also expects both fighters to carry even more power at welterweight, adding another layer of intrigue to the matchup. But after realizing the fight is scheduled for 5 rounds, Dacus changed his mind, ultimately siding with Holloway because he believes the longer the contest lasts, the more it favors the fighter, who has remained consistently active. Conor McGregor's longtime head coach, John Kavanagh, also reflected on their first meeting with Holloway, recalling the electric atmosphere that surrounded McGregor's walk to the octagon.